In the last episode, we saw Ryan and Maria start the milestone of choosing a path of recovery. There are 4 important steps that need to take place to complete the milestone successfully. 1. Identify the potential obstacles in the way of choosing a path. 2. Determine whether or not the type of relationship that they had with one another prior to the infidelity can be an asset or a risk factor for rebuilding together. 3. Assess their performance in the previous milestones of getting the narrative of the affair and acknowledging the impact of infidelity. People who fail in the previous milestones are not ideal candidates for rebuilding the relationship together. 4. Establish whether or not the type of infidelity that happened and why it happened is going to affect the path of recovery they choose. Because remember, healing from infidelity doesn't always mean repairing the relationship. It's healing from the trauma and using it as a catalyst for positive change and growth. Ryan and Maria completed the main bulk of these 4 steps successfully with an actual potential outcome for healing the relationship together. In this 2-part episode, we will see Ryan and Maria see the clinical summary of all the different factors that have contributed to the infidelity they have experienced throughout the course of their relationship with one another, which will be the last area of assessment they need to explore to get closer to choosing a path of recovery. Let's take a look. Other side of this, that 3rd area of assessment, is the why, which is the factors that we briefly talked about yesterday. So again, with that one, there is no right or wrong answer. It just, each couple is different, each individual is different. So what we need to do right now is to look at the summary of all these factors that we have discussed for the last couple of days and look at them and see if these are things that we think it's fixable, if it's things that we actually willing to sign up for and fix. And that's going to determine which direction. Fair? So, I have a printout for each one of you here. And this is how we're going to do it. The 2 of you will take turns reading each one of these factors and giving me your thoughts and comments, as well as giving it to your partner. So who wants to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
Vague and conflicting definition of what is considered emotional and sexual infidelity, and a lack of clarity and agreement on expected emotional and sexual exclusivity.
Okay. Do you believe that was a factor?
Yes.
Okay. No questions or concern about that part, right? Or point of clarification? Okay. Maria, you're next.
Lack of clear boundaries of what's considered to be appropriate and inappropriate friendships. Yeah.
Do you agree with that part?
I agree with that one.
Next.
On the rare occasion in which those boundaries get defined, those boundaries end up being blurred, modified, and changed without communicating about such prior changes to it taking place. Yes, I agree.
So far so good, Maria?
Mhm.
Okay, nice.
There's an assumption that transparency about interactions with friends automatically makes those interactions healthy and appropriate. It helps.
Sure. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. How about on your end, Ryan?
I agree.
Okay.
Maria struggles with uncertainty about her relationship identity and the type of partners needed for relationship satisfaction. This is evident in the fact that there were never long pauses between relationships, and many relationships overlapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next.
The large majority of Maria's friendships are with males because she connects and gets along better with males and females. Yes.
Yeah. Maria also works in a male-dominant career field in which the majority of her job duties require professional and interpersonal interactions with males. Yeah.
Is that accurate, Maria?
Yeah.
Very much so.
A lot of these male friends tend to have non-platonic interest in Maria. Yeah.
In a lot of these relationships, Maria fulfills and plays some of the roles that are usually reserved for the roles of a wife or a girlfriend. This evident in the form of frequent reference to Maria as so-and-so's secret work wife or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maria's a compassionate individual who seeks friendship with persons who appear to struggle with issues related to self-worth and lack of appreciation. Maria uses the term lame duck to describe these individuals and often compelled to play the role of fixer because she can identify with their struggles. Empathy and vulnerability required for such a role ends up deepening those relationships and blurring the boundaries of the platonic premise. Yeah.
Notice I didn't say therapist.
A lot of those friendships end up with these friends falling in love with Maria, and when that fact becomes apparent, Maria continues to have these friendships and ignores the potential for complications. Yes.
I don't. It's always caused problems. Always.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's. That was the whole problem. That was the whole malfunction of Jason saying, "Hey, I love you." Is I didn't want to do that bullshit again.
But that statement is accurate?
I don't ignore the potential for complications. Otherwise,
So you disagree with that part?
yeah.
Okay. So please clarify. So you're aware of those complications.
I don't ignore it.
Okay. So what do you do instead?
Hey, the conversation with Jason about, I do understand how you feel. I'm not here for that. I'm not
Perfect. So there are attempts to
available for that.
so,
Yes.
so there are attempts to correct that, right?
Yes.
So can I rephrase it? Please reflect it in your notes because it's important. So rather than saying ignore potential for complication is what
Attempt to address it.
okay. That plus is really what I'm trying to say is that despite seeing those complications, right? And despite the attempt to correct them, when you see those complications, you don't stop, you continue.
I guess I've always assumed that addressing it is sufficient.
Sure. That-
So for me, if it's not an ignorance on my part, it's, we've addressed this, okay, we're good, we can still be friends, this is fine.
I agree. It's not ignorance because that doesn't fit, right? But it's really more along the line of wishful thinking then. Because in the past you've seen that they always kind of backfired, right? You attempt to correct it, right, in the hope that this time will be different.
Yeah,
Would that be a fair way
yeah.
to say it? Okay. On board with this?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And this is exactly what you did is the whole point of this is that if any of these things, there's part of it that seems to be not fit, we need to tailor it to actually fit exactly.
Okay.
So thank you for doing that. Okay. I think, Ryan, you're next, right?
Yeah. Despite the obvious signs of non-platonic interest, Maria continues those relationships with Ryan's approval.
And I would, underline that approval, because that's accurate, right?
Yes.
And I think that was part of the related to the whole thing about, transparency,
Mm-hmm.
indicate, or sometimes perceived as approval. Okay.
These relationships continue because the signs of non-platonic interest ended up being rationalized as banter due to Maria's difficulties in accepting that she can elicit responses from other males. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. It's friends on my part.
Okay.
Ryan's concerns about Maria's isolation and his desire for her to have friends overrides his discomfort and concerns about the non-platonic interests. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. These friends are able to fulfill some of the legitimate needs that Maria has that Ryan is unable or unwilling to fulfill. Yes.
Do you agree with that, Ryan?
Not unwilling.
Okay.
I don't think unwilling
Fit?
or unable is unable maybe.
Okay.
Unwilling, no.
Agree or disagree?
I disagree.
Okay, please push back.
You know me better than anybody else does or should. And when I say, hey, this is something I need, and you say, I'm not comfortable with it, it doesn't matter. That's unwilling.
No. It's more along the lines of I didn't understand the fulfillment that you needed. But I'd be willing to, yes. But I didn't understand them. No.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
the unable part, okay, I'll agree with it. The unwilling part, no, I won't agree with it.
Perfect. Can I push back?
Yeah.
Because I put this as what, it is clear to me that there are things, and we're gonna see this when we talk about the compatibility piece, that there are things that are not in your skill set, not in your comfort zone, and you see somebody else that she's getting that need met somewhere else, right? Because remember, there's a lot of this that was done, not done in the dark, it was done under your eyes, right? Like you were witnessing these things. I feel like there has been some things where it's like, okay, I know this is important for her, but I don't have to give her that. She's getting that from this person. And I'm okay with that because that person is better at that than I am, right? And it's fulfilling her need.
No,
No?
no.
Okay. Push back.
I was underneath the explicit idea of she needed friends. Friends alone. It wasn't that she was being fulfilled in this way. None of that was ever brought to my attention. It was that she had friendships, she found a friendship And that's what it was. Not that she was having these needs fulfilled there. None of that.
What do you think about his response?
It wasn't for lack of trying to talk to you about it. And that's why I feel it's unwilling. Because I would come to you and try and talk to you about something, and that's the response that I would get. Is, I'm not okay with it, it needs to stop. But there was never any attempt to actually understand what it was, why it was helping me.
Can you give an example that's not related to Jason?
Some of the posts that I've shared with you.
Yeah, but they can be misconstrued as directed towards Jason.
Yeah, but
I guess that's the way that I take them.
Okay, how about this? And that's why I'm emphasizing pre-Jason, right? Because this issue of needs being ongoing, right? This is not just, because remember you're saying, okay, you know, we can't just put everything on the infidelity and ignore all the context. This issue. Can you recall example in the past, right? Pre-infidelity, where, you know, what you have just listed is that I come to you.
here I am, look at me. I'll do this for you because you haven't understood it yet. I'll do this for you.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
yeah, and I want you to only say, okay, that makes sense, and it's uncomfortable, but I'm trying to push you and push her out of her comfort zone. That's the change that we made to say.
I have to agree with it then. If this is the direction, if this is what needs to be said, that I was unwilling to fulfill it, okay.
No, not because somebody's saying it's because I see it and agree with it. Because
I don't.
if you don't see it,
I don't agree with it though.
great. So push
I
back.
don't.
We'll
Instead of
we'll do it until we beat a dead horse, because that's what you guys do at home, and I'm not going to be part of that. I'm trying to force you to do something different.
instead of realizing that her bringing it to me is in, hey, this is something I'm curious of, which for Christ's sake, I should have saw that huge banner when she was kneeling on the bathroom floor. I should have seen it. I should have gathered it. I should have started learning it.
How about when we were still in South Dakota and I was on the chat rooms and I was trying to involve you and trying to help you learn about me, and when I gave you a letter of this and this and this and this and this, you were not willing to try to learn.
Okay, I see it. I understand it. I'll agree with it.
You accept it?
Do you mean it? Or are you just agreeing?
I have to.
Nope, there's no have to. Nobody's putting a gun to your head, nobody's putting a gun to her head.
I don't.
Okay, then respond,
Just-
because she's bringing up a clear example, right? She's saying, okay, I brought you this letter, right? This has nothing to do with Jason or anything else. This is about me discovering these things about myself, right? That's the
Yes.
context of that. Here I am sharing with you this discovery, this exploration about my submissive side. I'm sharing this with you.
But knowing there was never any really open communication, any open conversations. Because of me.
Okay.
Alright, fine, I did it. I was unwilling to learn her.
Do you mean it?
I mean it. It was me.
Okay. Do you believe him?
There's no reason to get angry about it.
No, you guys are allowed to have the whole rainbow of emotions. I'm not worried about your guys' feelings.
I
Do-
can't help it. Yes, I believe him.
Okay. And right now, I'm trusting that, you know, you won't tell me what I want to hear, because there's no such thing.
And no, it's point blank. It's in front of me. It's what she's showing me that she's feeling. I have to believe it. I have to understand it. And I have to say it is okay. That's right.
again, have to not out of an obligation, right? Because there was a lot of have tos in this relationship that caused a lot of you a lot of pain. We're not doing have tos, we're choosing. And if it's not clear, like I said, I don't care. Let's stay here till tomorrow till we make this clear.
No, I understand.
So you see it willingly, not because you have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Is it my turn?
Sure you can.
I don't remember. Taking advantage of innocent bystanders, Megan as an outlet for meeting relationship deficits and settling scores. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know on that one.
Okay.
Yesterday I would have said yes. Talking through it a little bit more today. Was it an outlet for meeting relationship deficits? Yes. Was it about settling scores? I don't know, was it?
No, it wasn't about settling scores. It was more finding that I'd have an outlet to talk to somebody that would help me explore.
Do you understand that I've literally always wanted you to?
I understand.
And that was why I was so set on the unwilling piece?
Yeah.
So here's my comments on the sideline. Thank you guys for adapting this, because you are correct. The context of when this is based on before we started today, right? So this wasn't typed right now, so I'm glad that you guys catching these things to modify it. So how do we want to modify it?
Well, we talked about the whole taking advantage thing of how that connotes manipulation or whatever. And
Okay.
I don't.
So which part still fits and which part doesn't?
I will agree with taking the advantage of her. I have to agree with it.
And you are correct. Because, and this has to do with, again, you know, the conscious effort to mislead.
Okay.
The part that I heard you want to take out is the settling scores, so that needs to come out. What needs to be added?
Don't take it out though. Don't. Because she had said something to me. If it was good, you put it. If it was right for me, it had to be right for you. It's not. It's stuck in my head at one time. And I don't want it to feel like settling scores, but maybe some were down deep inside of me. Yeah, maybe it was. So I don't want it out of there, but I don't want it to feel that that was the direct intent.
That does change it for me.
But it wasn't.
If it was a one-up, it changes it.
It wasn't meant as a one-up. That's not it. That's not.
This is what I want to pause and highlight. As much as that changes that for you, what should register is what is that he is choosing to dig deeper,
Yeah.
right? Because he had an out. You were giving him an out,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
And what he's saying is what is that I cannot in good conscience to say it had no impact, but what's fair, the more fair thing is it had an impact, but it was not the primary factor. But I cannot say it had zero impact.
Gotcha.
I just want to be directly honest with you and make sure that you knew that it wasn't.
Okay. I know what I just did.
What?
Trying to protect you. I always do. Something Uncle Pat said to me a long time ago.
What?
You can't protect you from your own pain because you never learn if I protect you from your own pain.
Well, the good news is that this interaction demonstrated your guys' capacity of interacting differently.
Right.
Whether it sticks or not, different story. But at least it's a start, right?
Yeah.
The discovery of infidelity can be experienced as a traumatic death of the relationship. Affairs are not simply the cause of dysfunction, but rather a symptom of it. The need for healing necessitates a postpartum examination of all the different factors that contributed to the tragic loss.
Ryan struggles with being honest with himself about his thoughts and feelings and successful expression of these thoughts and feelings towards to Maria. Yes.
Okay.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at the way you said yes.
Next.
Ryan also struggles in being honest with Maria, who values honesty and sees it as a core foundation of the relationship that she has had with others. Past incidents of dishonesty has caused Maria to lose emotional safety in the relationship. Absolutely.
All right. You good with that, Ryan?
Maria feels that she can't talk to Ryan without him personalizing, judging, and or misconstruing what she shares. Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay.
Maria feels dismissed and disregarded on the rare occasions that she expresses her needs. Yeah. I do.
Okay. Ryan feels that when Maria expresses her needs, he is not provided with the tools, help, and know-how to meet these needs successfully. I'm usually told, figure it out on your own. That's what I had to do.
Yeah.
I agree with it.
The ongoing failure to meet these needs has caused Maria to convince herself that such needs were unimportant or that she can go without them. This led to an increased lack of fulfillment that only became apparent when other individuals, such as Jason, were able to recognize, validate, and later fulfill these needs. Yes.
Ryan tends to avoid any kind of conflict. It's easier to go along with what she says and wants rather than argue with her because I hardly succeed in having her see things from my point of view. Yes.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I do see things from your point of view. I always look at things objectively. When you say that I don't see things from your point of view, it's because you're disregarding what I'm telling you when I'm saying. I understand your point, however, this is invalid because ABC. You don't hear me when I validate you, you just hear the but. The stickers. The vinyl sticker on the trailer, for example.
Oh.
I said but. Because you had this idea in your head that you wanted to do, and I said yes, but before we do that, we've got to do this and this and this and this and this, because I was already considering changing the logo, but in doing that, we've got to do this and this and this and this before. But you didn't hear me say yes, this, because they all coincide. You heard me say but, and you said, well, we just won't do it. It's not that I invalidate you, it's that you don't hear me validating you.
Okay. But it was the idea, it was the structure of the idea that you had blew off, and that was the...
I didn't blow it off.
Okay.
Push back, right?
She did, though. Well, you're not going to do that to my artwork. Well, it wasn't...
Oh, that
What?
was me being sarcastic!
Let him finish.
You don't understand is I'm trying to take something that was yours, very personally yours, and make an image of you for you. That was what I wanted to do. Granted, what they came up with is outstanding.
Okay.
But it's impersonal. It's not you on the sign.
But it is. I understand what you mean. Okay. I'm sorry that you took me being sarcastic and me attempting to be an art snob, because that was what that comment was me being an art snob.
Perfect. So I'll help you guys up with this part. And remember, this is just, our cliff noting version that do we agree that this is a factor or not. And I appreciate pausing and acknowledging that I'm sorry you feel this way, but there's more to it than that, right? Here's a take-home message about this. You're trying to convey what is that I will accept that you feel this way, but I want you to know that's not my intention. I actually go out of my way to try for you to feel the opposite of this.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. It
And
was loud.
and I can afford to believe you because again, it's not my relationship, but also you haven't given me any reason to disbelieve you, right? Intellectually, would you be able to accept that? That she's, that, not the outcome, but the fact that she really tries, right? Whether she was successful or not, and why she was not successful, whether it's on her end or your end, that's a different story. Do you accept that she really is interested in having an interaction where you feel validated when she's trying to see your point of view?
No, she's using one example, and some of the stuff I've got in my head, some of the arguments that we've had, no, she's so very headstrong that there's no arguing against her. It is her way or she storms away.
Your response.
And then I don't get any help doing the project because she storms away.
Your response.
I storm away because I'm trying to have you help me understand and compromise and meet somewhere in the middle, and you just keep saying, it's gotta be this way, 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 it's gotta be this way. It's the sticker is the best current example that I've got.
Okay.
I said, yes, we can, but we've got to do this and this and this and this because it's not a simple.
I'll cut to the chase.
I do hear you. I'm trying to talk to you, and you just say, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Fine, fuck you, I'm leaving.
So his observation are not inaccurate, right?
No, about me getting mad? No,
Okay.
I do get mad.
Perfect.
And leave.
So back to me getting to the chase. Okay? So there is a way to prove or disprove that, right? Because again, she's saying, I know myself, I'm the type of person, right, who is interested in seeing the other person's point of view. I do care about what this guy's saying, right? And I would like to see his point of view. I understand that your interaction with her feels like she is not, right? Maybe it's that the issue is in the intent, right? Maybe it's the issue in terms of what she needs from you and what you need from her to get to that point. That's the part what I want to zoom in on, is that it's hard for me to imagine somebody says, you know what, I want to be in a healthy relationship, but I want everything my way. Now, sometimes people will kind of lie to themselves. Those situations exist. I'm not saying that this is who she is, but if it's an issue of, okay, you want to see my point of view, great, what do you need from me so that you can actually do that? And if I give her that and she still fails, then it's a different story, right? Then she's probably somebody who doesn't want to have her way and she's just, in denial about it. Versus she's saying, no, I really want to, but here's what gets in the way. Because that's what I'm hearing saying. It's like, I really try to see his point of view, I would like to do that, but there are a lot of things that he does, and there's probably things that you probably do that gets in the way of making that a reality.
Well, she
There.
wants surefire, dead set answers of, hey, this is, but she wants it oversimplified but not simplified. And I have the general knowledge of doing whatever it is, but I can't express my knowledge to her because I don't know how to express it.
Perfect. And now if you skip ahead, you'll see that will become clear as far as some of those factors that gets in the way too. But at least, can we agree to this part?
I want to cross that out because I do very much hear you.
You're saying you want to cross that out?
I hardly succeed in having her see things from my point of view.
Okay.
I understand why you would feel that way, but that's not true for me.
Yeah, but this is subjective experience. That doesn't mean that So again, just because you're saying this is what it is, that doesn't mean that you're the problem. It just means that this is the dynamic that needs to be fleshed out more to figure out why do we feel this way. That doesn't mean that it's because she's a closed-minded individual and not willing to compromise. Does that make sense? So when we're looking at these things, I want you guys to look at them that way, right? This is the dynamic that exists that gets in the way of clear communication and expressing needs.
Okay.
Fair?
Hard-headedness gets in the way of expressing myself correctly.
Okay.
Awkward.
So read next. Go to the next one.
Your turn.
Brian's failure in getting his point of view across can be attributed to Brian's lack of skills in expressing his point of view in a clear and direct manner.
Boom. Right? So it's not all you.
Maria's tendency of being strong-headed and stubborn.
Boom.
Maria's need to be in control. I'm a control freak because if I don't control things, things won't turn out. That's true. And I hate it. I don't want to be in control all the time.
Great. But you see how, like, you know, that dynamic is not just as easy, well, I feel this way, then it must be this person's fault. Well, yeah, we have this dynamic, but these are the factors that contribute to that dynamic.
Yeah.
And there, you know, there might be more than that, but that's kind of, again, Cliff Note version. So we're good with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, switch to the category of compatibility.
Ryan and Maria have different but non-conflicting spiritual over worldviews. For Maria, spirituality is a core component of her personality and plays an important role in her life and the type of relationships and bonds she forms with others.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
Spiritual, like-minded individuals are attracted to Maria, and such attractions have been a catalyst in the past for deepening friendships and blurring boundaries, yes.
Okay.
Maria is attracted to individuals who have the following abilities. The ability to identify and meet her needs intuitively without having her to directly express them. Yeah?
The ability to identify and help her sort through the internal struggles. I want someone with the ability to draw it out of me and help me sort through it. I paraphrase, but yes.
That was your word, not mine. Now, so far we're in agreement in the first one and this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
My brain reads faster than I can talk,
Oh, no worries.
so I just ended up paraphrasing that.
The ability to be brutally honest by reflecting to her inconsistencies and blind spots. I want someone to be my mirror that can show what I can't see.
It helps. And I don't necessarily want that mirror. That was what was given to me. It's everything that I say is something that I need to hear myself. And he's the person that is like, hey, are you listening to yourself right now? It's not that I want that mirror. That's what I was given.
Okay. But I guess, does that mean that, and the reason I listed here because it seemed that was an important value, something that either that was lacking and you did not know about it, or something that you never even thought about and realized, no, this is something that I really want to have in a partner.
Actually, I kind of hate it. Because I tell somebody something that's like so deep and intuitive, and just to have an eyebrow raised at me like, yeah, are you listening to yourself right now? Because you need to hear this too. It's like,
So,
shut up! Don't poke at me like that. I'm poking you.
now, there's a difference between something that is valuable for me but I don't like it versus I don't like it and it doesn't have no value for me. And like I said, the reason is...
It is valuable.
Okay.
It has been exceptionally valuable for me.
Here's your mirror.
Yeah, I don't know that it's a want. Is that understandable?
Kinda. Keep going.
It's not a.
I have to?
Yeah, it's not a have to. It's a perk,
Okay.
and the growth that comes from that is invaluable to me.
Okay. And you see, and it's like, part of me is like, yeah, I can recommend perk, but again, the value that comes out of it then becomes necessity because it's an important perk, especially when we're talking about discovery and how important discovery it is for you. But I guess really at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to keep it as a perk or an important perk or a need or somewhere in between. And there is no right or wrong answer, in a sense.
It's a perk.
Okay.
It's not a need. It's. I'm trying to validate the benefit that it has, but it's not a need.
Then put that distinction next to it. Okay.
The ability to not be overwhelmed and triggered by her internal conflict. I want someone to be okay with me when I'm not okay and take the lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
The ability to understand, nurture, explore, and fulfill the submissive aspects of her personality sexually and emotionally. Yes.
The ability to understand, nurture, explore, and fulfill the poly aspects of her personality sexually and emotionally.
So you notice that part is in red, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's red because, again, I think I'm putting a question mark on that one, but we need to flesh that out more. That could be there, could not be there. That's going to be part of the discussion that we're going to have. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, family and origin issues.
Maria had a lot of experiences growing up in which emotional expression, vulnerability, and saying no was discouraged. These patterns were repeated in her relationship with Ryan. Part of the appeal and attraction to Jason is that she felt that she safely expresses her emotions and exercises vulnerability and has the ability to say no without disappointment or negative repercussion. Yes. Very much so.
Okay.
Okay. Ryan's family of origin experiences shaped a very negative view of self as not special. These negative self-images caused him to create a lot of false stories about who he is, which hurt Maria deeply and has shaken her trust in him. The lack of trust played a big role in Maria's sense of emotional safety in the relationship and has impacted the couple's sexual intimacy as well as other important facets of the relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
Brian struggled with his identity as a father and adequacy in playing the role due to the lack of positive reference point. This can lead to an increased reliance on Maria for parenting responsibilities. Yeah. The thing is with that is I can agree with it, but I don't accept it because you're struggling with your identity as a father and adequacy. Have you looked at my mother? Do you see the shit show that I came from?
What are you feeling right now before you respond?
That's a cop-out. I didn't have a good example, so I'm piss poor at it, and that's just all there is to it. I didn't have a good example. I didn't have a good example either, but our families functioned pretty well because I looked at that and went, I don't want that shit. That pisses me off, that it's something that you picked up and it felt that needed to be put in here because...
Just to a point of correction, I'm the one who's listing, these are my thoughts and impressions.
I know, that's what I meant, is you picked up on that and put it in here as a cause, and that you are so much better than that.
But that does not negate that this is a fact. It's what we do with that. If it's an issue, well, this is who I am, I can function, then you're right, it's a cop-out. But the purpose of this is not to say, okay, by the way, hey, this happened because X, Y, and Z, accept it. No. It's simply saying that this is a factor, right? And what we're going to do with that factor. So that's why it's interesting.
Yeah.
When you say accepting, it's like, well, it's like accepting doesn't mean that I said, yeah, it's okay and don't change it. Accepting, like, yeah, this is a contributing thing from your point of view. It sucks that it is this way because from my reference point, I had crappy family experiences too. It didn't stop me from being a parent. Now I expect you to overcome that.
Please
That-
translate, please.
I've got nothing on it.
Come on!
Go ahead, respond.
Let me put it this way. You didn't have Wendy, but you had
Father that I raised.
grandma. You had Kristen. And it just, you had
Yeah, you're right.
you
I
had
had mama.
you had other roles. You had other role players in it that gave direction.
What about track?
Father figure, more like a supporter.
What about your uncle? Your uncles trying to help you.
To a point. But they were there to show how piss poor my dad was, not much more than try to dig me out. They tried, and I'm not gonna argue with it, they tried. But I didn't have anybody to show the nurturing support of what a good relationship was supposed to look like. And granted, neither did you. Not what a successful, strong relationship was supposed to be. Not what a good father was supposed to be. Not what a good mother was supposed to be. That's what I had, a strong mother. But as far as the father role, no, I didn't have a strong father. I didn't even know what to do. Don't have a clue. Do I rely on you? Yes, I do. Have I taken value in some stupid Facebook pages to give me support and goals, and have I talked to my old pastor for several months now, trying to gather myself? Yeah, I have. Just to try to make sure that I'm giving Tyler what he needs. So, I very much so agree with that one. Do I think it's a cop-out? It could be put in there. It could be put in as a cop-out. I can agree with you.
And again, my definition of a cop-out is that if I have this realization or this explanation and I don't do anything about it and use it as I say, accept it and deal with it, and I gotta change it. Another way to look at these things, they're explanations, they're not justification or excuses. And there is a vast difference between the two. And sometimes it can be razor thin, right? I was like, no, explanation. This is why, does not excuse, does not justify, does not take responsibility. It's what we do with it, that's the part, is it going to be a cop-out or not? Fair?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
When we watch Ryan and Maria discover and explore some of the different contributing factors that were discussed in this episode, we can notice a wide range of emotions, which is a common experience for couples during this milestone. This wide range is a result of having a tangible and succinct way of putting a name to all the different issues that the couple has struggled with prior to the infidelity and was also the cause of it. With that clarity, you get relief, validation, anger, regret, hope, and many, many other emotions. What I want you to think about is the value of being able to have such an approach to identifying and addressing relationship and individual problems at that level, not only as a safeguard against infidelity, but also as a must-have tool for a healthy and successful relationship. Until then, be well, be safe, and embrace the possibility for a brighter future.